Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today, I have she's a director, and she has a film that's in production right as we speak, and it's called Under the Midnight Sun. I have with us Lisa Hammer. And Lisa, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And tell us a little bit about Under the Midnight Sun.
Well, I had this idea. So a while back, I bought this purse. It's a chicken purse. It's like I'll get it in a second. It's a rubber chicken bag. And every time I look at it, I feel like it's talking to me and like giving me really bad ideas. So I was like, I need to make a movie about this. So I decided to make a movie about a girl who's very troubled. I can't say what mental illness she has because I don't want to without doing my research, I don't want to get in trouble saying it's one thing and not the other. So she's a troubled girl and she has this chicken purse and it starts talking to her and it tells her her life is horrible. She's got 10 jobs, 50 roommates. She lives in New York. She can't afford, it's everything that we're all going through right now. And it's a nightmare. Nightmare bosses, nightmare people. And so she is just, her world is falling apart slowly. She's very angry and very, very bitter. And this chicken bag just starts talking to her and saying, the song that you're hearing on the radio, she's speaking to you. You need to find her. So she goes to her show, this country singer, and then the chicken bag says, if you want to escape this, you need to kill her and eat her heart. And so she does. She takes her home. She kidnaps her, takes her home, does her whole speech with the chicken bag, and then she kills her and starts to eat her heart and organs.
Whoa.
And then she scalps her. I don't want to give away the ending, but I will. Puts her scalp on, puts her dress on, takes her guitar, goes to the same club, and tries to pretend she's her and play and sing the song, but it's just a cacophony of noise. But hipsters being hipsters are like, this is kind of cool, because she's like, Wah! Blood dripping down, and everyone thinks it's just like this noise band, so they think it's cool.
So how did she?
Short. That's the short.
All right, so sorry. So you have this purse. You come up with this idea. Now, how do you come up with the grotesque part of it? I mean, how do you? Because I ask filmmakers this, I can think of a great. I've never made a movie before, but I can think of a great story for a movie. But when it comes to the fucking grotesque part, eating hearts and stuff, I can't get my brain does not wrap around that aspect. How do you get yourself in the mindset to come up with the sick shit?
I have no idea. I don't sit and watch tons of horror. It freaks me out. It's actually too scary for me. It's too scary. I have PTSD because I was in 9/11. So I have PTSD. I've had a bunch of horrible surgeries. So maybe it was all the weird surgery and they were taking out parts and moving parts because of cancer and just cutting me. I just years of that. It could be that I just have PTSD from being cut up myself.
Ooh. Now, all right. So you're in production right now. At any point, did you think to yourself, "Damn, Lisa, you're going pretty damn extreme. This is too much"?
Yeah.
You just keep on going.
Yeah. I don't know. I grew up with a twisted sense of humor. It's like I'm terrified of these films, but I gravitate to them. And I think one of my first films I ever saw in my whole life, my aunt brought me to a drive-in movie, and we saw It's Alive, that movie about the weird demon baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the 70s, so I kept seeing all these demonic possession movies and horror movies and The Exorcist, and it just and then of course in the 80s I ended up finally seeing Texas Chainsaw Massacre and I Spit on Your Grave and all this stuff and Evil Dead, and it completely just it warps you.
It does.
And I don't know why it's so horrifying. But for some reason, when we were shooting this, I was laughing the whole time. Because it's absurd. It's absurd.
Because people who don't know me they think I'm into some dark shit. Because
yeah.
A, I have a horror YouTube channel. I'm into horror. B, my full-time job, I'm a mortician. So like, people automatically think I'm a kind of serial killer or something. And I'm like the nicest person you ever be.
Yeah.
But I feel like most serial killers are. But I'm not a serial killer. But,
well, we were talking about Yonkers earlier. You know who's from there?
Yes.
David Berkowitz, Son of Sam.
Yes, Son of Sam, in that park also.
In Untermeyer Park is where they were taking the dogs and the satanic cult that they had and sacrificing and murdering dogs. One of my life goals when after I'm done with these movies is finding the people that were in that cult and stalking them and bringing them to justice for hurting animals like that. Bunch of fucking poser pussy. Because I'm with the Satanic Temple. We don't sacrifice animals. That's poser shit.
The Satanic Temple, and that's in Bronx. That's in the Bronx.
That's in Salem. The Satanic Temple. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, all right. So I have a question, completely off topic. When it comes to New York filmmakers, right? Indie filmmakers. There was something I was talking to somebody about recently, and they were like, "I didn't know this, but like I see a lot." You were talking about crowdfunding, right? I see a lot, and it's only in New York. When I say New York, I mean New Jersey and Philadelphia too, right? Yeah. It's that little. Like I live in Maryland, Virginia, DC. We're all the same people, right? And the biggest thing that I see is when it comes to crowdfunding is a lot of New York filmmakers. When it comes to casting, they're selling the roles through their crowdfunding. Have you seen that?
I have seen it. I've definitely
like lead roles and everything. I'm like, boy, that's going to be a shitty movie because like you don't know what you're.
You don't know.
What you're getting.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting. I don't do that myself. I go through casting networks, or we have a good relationship with Liz Lewis Casting. They're amazing. I'm lucky enough to have a lot of really super cool actor friends. Because my husband and I are in SAG-AFTRA ourselves, so we have connection to like a lot of good names. And I have not had to do that. I've been really lucky. I'm tapped into a whole bunch of really cool cats with this filmmaker Dylan Mars Greenberg. It's a whole like, young Gen Z, trans community. They're experimental filmmakers, and they're up for anything. And they're so talented and so open to doing the weird shit. So for this film, I went to my dear friends have twin girls who are mid-20s. They're fucking gorgeous. They have long curly red hair like mermaids. They're almost identical twins. So I decided to cast them as one person. And luckily they both are great actresses. One's in an improv group. The other one I've used them both before because I've known them since they were babies. And they sure did not disappoint. Ruby and Sasha Reckler, they're incredible. And so they switch off who's going to be in what scene so that they're a little different, but you can't put your finger on it. But theoretically, this character kind of has a dissociative identity disorder. I'm not going to come out and say it. I kind of want the audience to figure it out or put their own take on it, because maybe she's just like a troubled person and maybe she looks a little different. We can't tell. Maybe it's her mood. But in reality, the feature, once I can get that up and running, I have her as 4 different people, 4 different personalities, and they each stalk a different person and eat a different person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because like when it comes to New York, right? New York is like almost like Los Angeles. There's a plethora of great talent when it comes to casting. Actors, actresses. I mean, it's a plethora.
Yeah.
So I never understood why. I guess if it's a money grab or something.
Yeah.
Why would you? To pay, especially for. I can understand if you're doing it for like extras or something like that. But like,
Right,
why
or
would you,
walk on. Yeah.
walk on and you can pay $1,000, but like for like to be the lead actor in a movie and
You
like
don't know if they can act? No
you don't
way.
know if they can act. Oh, you're gonna make a terrible movie.
No. So I've been so lucky. I handpick. I audition people. I get, recommendations. Most of my friends are either in a theater group or they're all in SAG. I mean, everybody I know is super talented. So I'm one of the lucky ones. Money wise, I have incentives and gifts and stuff. It's on my website, lisahammer.com. There's all kinds of prizes you can get, and it's like I have a fiscal sponsor, so you can get like a tax write-off, and
Nice.
yeah. I've barely advertised a fundraiser, and I've got a couple thousand off of almost not saying a word. So that was cool.
Yeah. Now in New York, is there any incentive for filmmakers in New York or no?
Yeah, we have a 30% tax credit in the city, or 35% in the city, and then 30 upstate or statewide. But you have to. It's over a certain budget, so I'm not really sure what the minimum budget is. But I'm micro budget. I'm like under 50,000. So
Okay.
I'm never going to see a tax credit for that. Yeah.
Now you were talking about you seen some horror movies growing up, and some of the trauma. But which one was the first one that really you were like, shit, this is too much?
The Exorcist. Oh my God. So
Everybody says that.
well, so then there was like the demonic possession craze. You're too young for this, but in the 70s, my girlfriends and I, we were like young girls, 7, 8, 9, and there was a demonic possession mania after that movie came out, and people were posting on the news tapes of exorcisms in like prime time. So we were hearing these exorcisms, and we were reading articles where they said that the demons it's easier to prey on young girls, and it made us go insane. But at the same time, I was also really mischievous. So my friend and I pretended in school to be that we were becoming possessed by demons. It lasted a week or so, about a week, 2 weeks, and we played it so straight and we played it so well that by the end of the 2 weeks, we had a whole crew of hysterical girls just running down the hall screaming. It was an experiment. So for me, like demonic possession was like, that was my first foray into terror.
Now, is that something that you believe in? Do you believe in demonic possession?
Not anymore, but I sure did. I did. I don't know if I've like put it out of my mind, or I've just become more interested in like science and like what I can see, tangible evidence of stuff. So I don't really believe in stuff I can't see anymore. So
I do. I'm going to tell you what right now. I'll tell you off what's going to call it. But I actually met someone like recently in a month, and I actually interviewed this person. I'm not going to tell you who it is. But when I initially met this person at this event, this person was definitely under the possession of something, and it weirded me the fuck out.
You have it on TV?
No, I don't.
Oh.
But if you watch the interview with this person, and certain points with certain questions I say, you can see something takes over that person, and their whole.
They could be schizophrenic. They could be schizophrenic.
That could be.
No, I've been studying it because I've got two schizophrenic family members, and I was going to make my character be schizophrenic at first. That is often mistaken as demonic possession, unfortunately.
Yeah, but this person has had. Actually, I'll show you off camera. But this person has had a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma.
Well, it's dissociative personality disorder because trauma actually spawns that. Trauma,
Yeah.
and the split personality comes from trauma. So your trauma was so heavy that to protect your psyche, you had to split into a whole other person, sometimes 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 different people. You watch these people and it's absolutely, you think they're faking it, but it's but they're not. It's stunning and shocking.
You'll watch this interview and you'll see three different people.
Yeah.
You see that I'm interviewing three different people at any given time. It's another person taking over.
Yeah.
And one is just laughing and giggling, and one is very serious, and one is just shut down, like staring, like, and it's like, whoa.
Oh, I wish I could study that tape.
I'll send the interview. Yes, but like it is, yeah.
That's fascinating to me, because there was like I also lived in the 80s. I lived through the Satanic Panic, and they had a whole mess of people on the talk shows who had been to these quacks who were psychiatrists who were doing this past life regression and childhood regression therapy and planting false memories and giving these people almost schizophrenia from these hypnosis sessions, and planting false memories of being abducted by satanic cults, and then it never happened.
Wow.
These people, it ruined these people's lives. So for me, it's fascinating to see what the human brain can be led to do.
Yeah.
Not even we don't even need the demons.
No, the human brain can be scary enough. Can be scary. I mean, but because think about all these movies for horror movies and so forth, they come from, all of them get inspiration from a real life person, a real life serial killer.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
it's terrifying because I kind of got yelled at the first time I came out and announced the movie, and I said she was schizophrenic, and this woman, a stranger on LinkedIn, just like launched an attack on me, saying that I was giving schizophrenic people a bad name and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I gotta be careful how I talk about this, because I said, look, I have 2 family members with schizophrenia, and actually one is autistic, but 2 of them are institutionalized. My grandfather killed himself, and then my aunt should be institutionalized. So I'm not a stranger. I'm not making this stuff up to be funny. But, I got to be really sensitive about this stuff. A week later, after she ripped into me, a week later in the news, not 1, but 2 stories about a schizophrenic man, 2 different men, who killed and ate the brain and eyeball of somebody.
Holy shit.
Because she's like, schizophrenic people, you're portraying us as violent, and you're doing us a disservice. I'm like, honey, this is a horror movie. Horror movies are just in a different realm. They're made up. It's a fake story. But if you really want to see it based on something, then read the news. Because these things do happen. Serial killers are not sane. They are mentally ill. These things happen.
But I think so my father, he's deceased. He was schizophrenic, and but he was also active duty in the Vietnam War. So he saw a lot of fucked up shit. It was a horrible war. And I think a lot of that, and there's another family member of mine who is schizophrenic, and they served in Afghanistan, active duty. And all this stuff didn't pop out until years later. And
so I think before they went to war, they didn't show signs.
But the one from I don't know about the Vietnam War. I wasn't born, but like the one from Afghanistan, she didn't show any signs until coming back, and it was just like all of these different diagnoses from psychiatrists, bipolar, schizophrenic, all these things started popping up, and I'm thinking to myself, like, is that, or is it, or does that stem from the trauma aspect?
PTSD, trauma, of course, that can trigger all of these things. If you have it genetically, I have it genetically too, so I have to be careful. But it can be completely triggered by trauma. It can be triggered by drugs if you're too young. My cousin, unfortunately, was doing drugs before he was 20, and that's what triggered him, and now he's in an institution. It's different for each family member, but trauma is what absolutely can set you off onto that path.
Yeah. So
So,
I think there was definitely a connection there because
sure.
because I do a lot of research on serial killers. I've done it ever since I was a kid. I was
Right.
always fascinated, and every single one of them has this traumatic experience. There is this traumatic, whether it be in, especially when it comes to males, right?
Yeah.
Females, when it comes to trauma, they lash out in a different way. Like that interview I was talking about, where they go into the sex industry, or they're just promiscuous or
Yeah.
drugs.
Right.
It's self destruction type things
Yeah.
when it comes to women. Men, it is destructive. It is.
Yeah.
They either become the predator seeking victims, or they become aggressive, they become murderers, they become just
Yeah.
domestic violence. All of this stuff stems from that. So it's a complete opposite. Men, when it comes to trauma, is destructive, and women is self destruction.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I agree. And, we can even go as far as going into narcissists. Look at our president. I mean, he's a murdering rapist, and, he's a narcissist. So what was his trauma? Like, what?
Something happened.
Something happened. Something happened to
There's
Crazy Kennedy too. I mean, obviously, his dad being murdered and his uncle being murdered gave him so much trauma that he's got brainworms
Yep.
now.
because I've this is a crazy thing I'm gonna say. Every single woman I've ever dated, or what's it called, has, not every, I would say 80% has been raped or molested at a young age. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't know that so many women experience that.
Mm-hmm.
But as someone who's their partner, you see the backlash of that. I don't care how much trauma, I mean, how much therapy they go to, this and that, it's there, and it's clear.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but you'll be shocked on how many women have had some kind of sexual assault.
I know. I feel really lucky that I have not experienced that I can remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is it like? I can't remember what the statistic is. It 1 out of 4. I mean, it's crazy. Or 1 out of 3.
It's something crazy.
It's
and
crazy.
Then you meet a lot of women who are in the sex industry. A lot of them have been sexually assaulted.
Absolutely. And it's how are there that many violent, horrifying rapist men out there? How and why are they? Is that trauma too? Are they entitled? Are they? Why are they so fucking angry?
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. So I'm not saying throughout my life, I've came across men who I found out were rapists, or like, this and that. I'm not saying I knew they were, but I found out later on. And believe it or not, there is this misconception that, sexual assaulters are these creepy looking men and this and that. No. Mm-hmm. They are the top 2% of attractive men.
Yeah.
They are extremely attractive men. And this is one thing by me being friends with extremely attractive men. Attractive men have never been told no in their whole entire life. They've never been told no by their parents, teachers, other women and girls. So when you tell one of those guys no, it sets them off.
Because, I was just watching, I don't remember what I was just watching, and I hate to quote something without telling you what it is. It was something I saw, it might have been Hollywood Demons. They were talking about a actor from Seventh Heaven who ended up being a rapist. But they said, if you're a young, good-looking boy and you're not given boundaries by the time you're 7, you're not told no, you're told you're amazing, you're told like your shit don't stink, all that. You become a narcissist and you become a monster. If you're 100%. Not, yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of actors and professional athletes and Chris Brown and all them, they're all rapists because they've never had a woman tell them no, ever.
Their parents didn't tell them. Nobody. Their
mother didn't tell them no.
Father didn't say no. Their teachers didn't say no. Everybody let them go because they were cute and charming, and that fucks you up.
Yep.
So it's terrifying. That show. Have you seen that documentary yet, Hollywood Demons?
I have not. I need to watch it.
It's fucking terrifying. It's really, really sad and scary and upsetting. Yeah, I can't remember if it's on HBO. I would watch it. It's really.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it. I'm fascinated by that. Like, you know, I know a couple people right now in my own personal life that I say that. One in particular, I'm not gonna name drop no way, but I'm like, this motherfucker is going to make national news one day. I know this motherfucker is going, and the scary part about this motherfucker is definitely a serial killer. I know this motherfucker is a serial killer, and this motherfucker is a gun fanatic. I mean, he has every fucking gun you can think of, and
oh God.
And but he's surrounded by people who are also gun fanatics. So what was that? Yes, steroids, you know, but also falls in that weird, what's it called, good-looking guy with big muscles, you know what I mean? And I'm like, this guy is definitely something. I cannot put my finger on it, whether it be a rapist, serial killer, or something, but he's going to make national news because he has artillery of guns. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's the crazy people who are the ones who get. I own a gun. But I don't have a whole fucking artillery, a gun.
You don't need room for your guns.
No. All you need is a hand. All you need is a handgun. I mean, that's prevents a break and entering. That's all you need. You don't need an AK-47 on that shit. When you see motherfuckers who are doing that, there's something.
Well, they're guarding something. They're terrified. I mean, if you have to have that much artillery, you are a scared person. They're pumping themselves up, going like, "I'm not scared. I got my guns." If you were not scared, you wouldn't have those guns, you chicken.
No. Because I don't need my gun. I mean, I don't need my gun unless somebody is breaking in my house. That's the only reason why. I know how to fight, so I could. But it's scary because so many people are walking around with guns, and so many men, grown ass men, are walking around with guns on them because they're afraid to fight.
I'm waiting for the wrong ICE agent to open the wrong door and get shot in the face, and I'm waiting for the news, and then they're going to declare martial law, and you know, all those NRA like gun you know, enthusiasts where are they now? You know, where are they going to be when we're supposed to be actually using that to fight a tyrannical government?
Yeah.
NRA's pretty quiet right now.
Super quiet. I think it's going to stay that way.
I know it is because it doesn't fit their little plan.
Yes. All right, Lisa, I do this with my guests every once in a while. I'm actually 3 random horror questions. These are your personal opinion. Okay?
Okay.
All right. The first one. Which horror villain do you feel like you identify with?
Oh, God. Villain?
Mm-hmm.
It's because she's not a villain in Ms. 45. She's getting revenge for the people that raped her, so it can't even be her. How about the atomic glowing woman? I saw that when I was way too young. Actually, it would be Godzilla. I'm obsessed with Godzilla. Godzilla raised me. I was shoved in a back room and watched TV my whole childhood, and Godzilla was always on. So I'm going to say Godzilla.
Godzilla is a great one. I love Godzilla as well. All right, the second one. What horror franchise do you wish they would put to rest?
Put to rest?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of them. I think they should just keep going because I think it's really funny. I think how many
really
Friday the 13th are there? Like 30?
Okay, there are. Hold on a second. I want to say there's 10.
I say never stop. I think it's hilarious, and the more you do, the funnier it gets. I wouldn't put any of them to rest.
Mine is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You're done with that?
I'm done with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, I'm done with that. Unless someone can come out and make something completely original, it's literally the same thing, or it's just constant reboot after reboot after reboot. There's no continuing story. per se.
The first one was the only good one.
First one and the second one. I even like the second one. It wasn't a good original, but I like the first two. And then after that, they just kept trying to reboot the story over and over and over again. Even to a couple years ago, I'm like, okay, either you finish the story or you leave it alone. Let's not keep restarting the story over and over again.
I see you have the poster behind you.
He's right there.
Yep.
Good old Letterface. I also feel the same way about Halloween. Halloween is my favorite movie and my favorite series, but Halloween needs to take a break. I don't want to say Halloween needs to be done; it needs to take a break.
Okay.
Because
what did you think of that last one? With I thought that last one was the end of all of it.
They're talking about doing another one, and I'm like, no. And I hated the last one, and I'm like, I don't. But it's a re of the whole thing, and I'm like, let Michael be dead. He can be dead for a while. I mean, at least give it let's give it 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give it 10 years, a 10-year break, because we've been having Halloween movies made since every 2 years since I've been alive.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And it's just like, and I feel the same way about the Saw series. Like, I'm done with Saw.
That is so grotesque. I can't even. I watch those I can't. I know it's ironic because I make movies where people are eating hearts, but I can't. It's hard for me to watch.
Yeah, it's gore porn. That's what I call.
Yeah. Corpse worship. Yeah.
The final question.
Okay. I was wondering what the next question is.
Oh, the final question is going to be: who is your favorite final girl in a horror movie?
Favorite? I can't.
Final girl? Your favorite final girl in a horror movie? Or guy?
Meaning whoever's left alive?
Yes.
Oh, Ash.
Ash from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Definitely. Totally amazing.
He is like the final guy. He is the ultimate final guy.
Nicolas Cage and Mandy. Mandy's one of my favorite films ever made.
Mandy is amazing. I have the Mandy Funko Pops over there. You can't see them on my shelf. I love Mandy. It is much. It is a artistic nightmare.
I love
colors and everything.
The music, the acting. Oh my god, it's literally one of my favorite movies ever made. It was definitely something that I thought. I even named one of my characters the one that gets her heart eaten is named Mandy. And I'm trying to figure out how to do some colors like that when I do my final call Da Vinci, and and it's like it's absurdist, and it's beautiful, and I'm trying to do the same kind of thing, and I'm trying to. My dialogue a lot of it is cut up dialogue, the way William S. Burroughs did his, and David Bowie did his lyrics called cut up. And so this has a little bit of Mandy in it. This has a little bit of Naked Lunch with the animated typewriter talking to him in this crazy New York voice, because I have Kevin Corrigan from Goodfellas doing the voice of the chicken bag.
Nice.
Oh, he's so good. It's so funny.
Well, I can't wait to see Under the Midnight Sun. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Let me just run and get chicken bag really quick.
Yes. Oh, yes. Let me see chicken bag. This chicken bag.
Look at him. He's talking to you. Look at that.
It's menacing.
It's menacing. So then when I cast the twins, I said, oh, it's a talking chicken bag. One of the twins comes over and says, I have my own chicken bag. I've never known any other person in the world who has a chicken bag. She has another chicken bag. So we did the mirror trick where one twin is on one side of glass and the other one, and they trace the finger. And we were able to have the two chicken bags and doing the fake mirror trick.
So that was literally a perfect casting.
this is my life. Everything just falls into this weird place. I don't understand it. I don't know, man.
Amazing.
It's crazy shit.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fucked up. And
Listen.
yeah.
So, Lisa, where can everyone find you, by the way?
LisaHammer.com. And I've got a TV show called Great Kills that's on Amazon and Tubi and Roku. It's where we play a documentary team, sort of like Man Bites Dog, following a hitman around Staten Island. And we're actually filming it for real and acting in it.
Oh.
My horror film from the 90s, it's like a very German expressionist film, was just shown at the MoMA. So that was great. And I've got my weird, fucked up, like fairy tale ghost TV show I did in the 90s in New York is on Night Flight Plus, called Turn of the Century. And yeah, just find me. Instagram, it's The Lisa Hammer. Facebook, The Lisa Hammer, and LisaHammer.com.
Awesome.
And I've got I was in a bunch of gothic bands too, and they're re-releasing all of our vinyl.
Oh, by the way, you also did some voice work on
Oh right, the Venture Brothers.
yes, Adventure Brothers.
Yeah, I played Triana.
How was that?
It was awesome. It was great. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was married to Doc Hammer, who created the series.
See, I saw that. I was like, that's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. So I've done some things. Our band, they're re-releasing our albums. You'll see it on my website. It's called Requiem in White. It sounds like Black Sabbath with an opera singer. It's very goth, very death rock. I'm pretty proud of that. And that's all going to be re-released, all of our albums. And then this film, I'm going to make the short, put it into festivals, send it off to different production companies. I've even contacted Hammer Films because they're starting to do an all new generation of horror. And I was like, I'm Hammer, you're Hammer.
Hammer time.
And they're like, well, let us know when we can see the short. I'm like, okay. So I'm with Citizen Skull Management if anybody is interested in being involved. And we're gonna keep going and keep working, make the feature. And my husband's making his film. I'm helping him with that, and we got our TV shows and
busy.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, it's been an absolute blast having you on. Listen, everyone, go down in the description and go ahead and click on to her website, which is www.lisahammer.com.
That's right.
All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to the horror realm.
Thank you.
I'm Travis Bruce. You're welcome.
Travis.
And that is Lisa Hammer.
Yeah, Hammer time.
Hammer time.
Look us up when you're in Yonkers. Let me know.
I'm gonna hit you up. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.